This is the YouTube edition of my book, A Course in Miracles Workbook Nuggets, which is a study aid for the course's workbook for students. I'll begin by reading my book's commentary on today's lesson over a visual of the book's text. I'll then return with some further thoughts on the lesson, which are only included in this YouTube edition of my book. Today's lesson is part of a 10-lesson group that runs from lesson 301 through lesson 310, each of which relates to the second coming as understood in the course. I'll be repeating this same introduction for each of lessons 301 through 310, so you can skip past this introduction in the future if you like. Timestamps taking you directly to today's Workbook Nuggets commentary and my further comments are provided in the description below. In the course, the second coming does not refer to the bodily return of Jesus. Rather, it is each and every one of us, all of humanity, finally remembering who and what we are in truth. It is all of us remembering that together we are the sonship, the one self we all share, the Christ. In the words of the introduction, which precedes these 10 lessons, the second coming is, quote, merely the correction of mistakes and the return of sanity. It is a part of the condition that restores the never lost and reestablishes what is forever and forever true, end quote. In other words, it is our collective realization that the separation from God never occurred and that we remain as God created us, as his one spiritual child in heaven. Today's lesson from my book and my further thoughts, which are only contained in this YouTube edition of the book, follow. A link to the book on Amazon.com is provided below. Lesson number 304, October 31st. Let not my world obscure the sight of Christ. This lesson describes the virtuous cycle being taught by the Course. Glimpses with the eyes of Christ, rather than your usual ego, lead to truer and truer perceptions. This is your practice and growth. The title of today's lesson is, Let Not My World Obscure the Sight of Christ. This short lesson tells us all we need to know about perception. Quote, I can obscure my holy sight if I intrude my world upon it. Nor can I behold the holy sights Christ looks upon unless it is his vision that I use. Perception is a mirror, not a fact. And what I look on is my state of mind reflected outward. End quote. In other words, if you look out at the world from a narrow, self-focused, grasping, and fearful ego, a cruel world filled with conflict is what you will see. This is you obscuring your holy sight by intruding your world upon it. But if you see with the eyes of Christ, as we are being trained to do in the workbook, you can behold the holy sights of Christ. Those are the sights I want. I want to see the reality God created, not the cruel and fearful illusion we have made ourselves. We seek the truth. That is why we study the Course.